Hello everyone, this is Dina and I'm here for a very special surprise. I had mentioned on my last video that I might have a surprise for you by this time, and I'm happy to say that I hope it will be a pleasant surprise for everyone. I'll give you a hint. I have 3 empty spools of Kreinik. 002HL, which is a high luster gold, a 120C, and a 150V, which is an orange color. I'll show you what they look like now. These are the pieces that I have left on second spool of each. One is a real yellowy gold, one is a little more almost coppery gold or silvery gold, and this one is orange. See if you can, there you go, kind of get those colors. So do you already know what the surprise is if I'm showing you empty spools of Kreinik? Okay, I also will show you a little bit of Petite treasure braid is left. And I used Sulky Sliver invisible thread. It's like the Nymo thread. And then of course I had 9 different beads that I had to use. 2 were gold, a large one and a small one were gold. I had purple and green. Actually, Citron, I think is the name of it. I had these lovely kind of orange-red beads. And these were very interesting. They're green with a little bit of red on the inside, like a lining that's red. Small purple, small gold, and I think, yeah, that's about it. There was another citron there, or green. So 9 different beads, 3 different colors of Kreinik, and a Petite treasure braid. So I guess you've probably figured out what I've done, right? I finished them. Firefly Fairies is finally a finish. I'm so excited. I started working on this again right after I uploaded my last update video. And I have not stopped working on it until today. And today is the 24th, Saturday. And I finally finished them. So I'm going to tell you a few things I've learned and show you my finish and tell you what I decided to do. So lessons learned. Well, first let me just show it to you, I guess. That would be you've seen the picture and you've been watching it unfold. It's not ironed. I just finished it today. So I'll let you see. Those colors are so vibrant and they're so beautiful. And you can see those headdresses are solid beads. And there are Kreinik and beads all through the dresses. And interestingly enough, each of the dresses have a different style. Where in the green dress, it's like she's got a overlay, you know, that kind of comes around and up down the other side. And in the red dress, it looks like she's got a scalloped top, you know, that overlays her skirt, which you see all the beading at the bottom. And then the blue one has a big bustle in the back like they all do, but then it just has folds and folds of fabric, and it has that beautiful border at the bottom. I hope you can see. It's kind of dark because it's later in the night. But I'll turn the camera around and kind of show you some of that. But in this bottom, like on this blue dress here, maybe you can see that now. There are 2 colors of beads and 3 colors of Kreinik. All 3 colors of Kreinik are in this dress at the bottom, in addition to DMC. But every one of those specialty metallics and beads is in the bottom of that dress, except for these green beads with the red lining. But there are 3 different beads in that bottom of the dress. Here is Firefly Fairies up close for you. You can see all the sparkly beads and Kreinik that are in this piece, in the starburst that each of the fairies are holding and surrounding them. Their head pieces are solid beads, and each of them, of course, is in a different color. That one's green, this one is the red and green, and then of course you have the blue and purples, but the green is in each one. You can see on this part of her dress all of the Kreinik, different colors of Kreinik and beads along the edge of that skirt. In their bustles, they have a little green in each of their bustles. It looks like it's almost like a belt or a rope. And there's more of the stars. You can see some of the Kreinik here in this dress all throughout here, and beads, little red beads. And then here is the heaviest Kreinik at this dress, because even though the dress is blue, it's kind of highlighted or trimmed in every color we have. So it has the gold Kreinik, the heaviest gold. It has the purple beads, more gold, and then the orange or copper colored Kreinik as well. But you can see all those beads going around. Lovely, just lovely. You see how vibrant these colors are? They're rich, beautiful colors. They don't show as well when I'm holding it up for you to see. And the green is a deep, rich green with a brighter green kind of to highlight that dress. So there it is, Firefly Fairies. I just couldn't be happier with it. So thanks for letting me share it with you up close and personal. So I'll let you see it again. Lovely. This piece was a real challenge for me. And I think it was because it was a learning curve for me for a project that is this heavily beaded. I've never done anything this heavily beaded. It really, really was a lesson. But the things that I learned were that it is very difficult on a pattern for me to skip places that require metallic threads and beads, and then try to go back and fill them in. I started beading in the beginning from the top down and got about a third of the way down. Well, to the tops of all their heads. I had beaded all of those. And I realized I was having a hard time keeping up on my pattern with every bead and every metallic stitch. So I stopped beading and I stopped the metallics and I did all the DMC to the very end. And then I went back and I found out the hardest thing for me is that I had made a working copy of the pattern. But as I stitched from the top down, which is how I did this one, I was cutting off what I had completed, not thinking about the fact that I still had beading and metallics to go. So as it turned out, I had a really hard time looking at just the plain pattern with no markings on it and then trying to match that up with what I had on this fabric. It was a bit of a challenge. It was doable, and I did it, but it was a bit of a challenge. And I've learned from now on, as I work on a piece like this, that I will make an enlarged working copy so I can see every little square, and I will very carefully mark what I've done so that when I get finished, that pattern should look just like the piece in front of me, and I should be able to match up every single square without any trouble. But I love it. It's absolutely beautiful. I'm so glad I powered through and finished it. Now you may notice very little back stitching is done here. There's a little bit of back stitching, if you can see there, on their faces, and in the stars there's some back stitching, you know, straight stitches. You can see in her little face there's back stitching, and in their hands there's just a little bit of outlining back stitching. Now on the back of the pattern there is a pattern for back stitching, but all the back stitching does is outline the edge of the picture all the way around. It outlines the edge of their heads, their dresses, and just to the bottom there. And as you can see, they've got these beautiful little skirts, petticoats, the green and red one do, and it looks almost like lace, how it trickles down and gets thinner and thinner. You know, that looks like a little lacy trim. And you were to back stitch all winding through there, catching some of it and not others. Anyway, I looked at it, I thought about it, decided I didn't want to do it. I like the way it is, and I like the way that it's softer because the back stitching does not make it stand out quite so distinct, and I think it's a softer picture, and I wanted this one to be softer. I thought it looks just sort of fantastical with all of those little beads and starburst and things like that. It's not showing up well on camera. I hope when I turn it around I can get a little better picture for you because it is vibrant and beautiful. Now this is an out of print pattern. It is promised already. I traded a pattern for one I wanted from a friend who is a stitcher, and she gave me a Teresa Wentzler that I wanted, and I promised to let her have this one when I finished with it. So it is going to a new stitcher. Someone else will be able to stitch it, and hopefully she'll pass it along when she's done with it as well. Anyway, I'm thrilled. I could not be happier. This was a Stitch Mania start from 2016. Worked on it that whole year and all of 2017. It was in my year of whips in 2017, and I worked on it throughout that year, you know, on a rotating basis like I do, trying to touch each of my pieces every month or at least every other month. And then when I didn't finish this one in the year of whips, you know, there were 3 that I didn't finish. I decided that I wanted to concentrate on those 3 a little extra this year to try to wrap up all 3 of them. And I never would have dreamed that this would be the first one that I would have finished, because it's this one, and it's the Nativity, and it's Sleeping Beauty. And I figured I would finish either the Nativity or Sleeping Beauty, mainly because the Nativity is a smaller piece, and I thought I'd get through it quicker than this one. And Sleeping Beauty is easier to stitch than this one. So I thought I would finish it first, but Sleeping Beauty is a lot larger than this piece. And I just decided I'm going to do it. I'm going to really focus on it, stitch monogamously on it, which is what I've done this second half of March. And now I have a finish. So I am thrilled. I hope you like my surprise. I hadn't said anything about trying to get it finished this month because I wasn't sure I could, but I hoped that I could. And I'm very, very pleased that I did. Now I'll have to go through the agonizing process of trying to find a framer in my new location that I can trust with this beautiful piece. You know, I haven't had good luck where I lived before with any of the big box stores. And so when I asked around here, my friends are taking things to Michael's. And I had a really bad experience at the Michael's where I came from. So I'm a little hesitant about that. So I will be looking for a framer. I don't know when I'll find one, but I think this one is gorgeous, and it's just lovely. So I'm through with it. So there's a finish for March. In addition to my secret stitch that I finished in March, and in addition to my Little House Needleworks that I finished in March. So 3 finishes for March. You've seen 2 of them. I have videotaped the other one, so once that gift is received, I can share that with you as well. So now I'm going to take the evening off. My husband has rented a movie, and we are going to watch a movie together this evening and just relax. And I'm going to spend some much needed family time. They have been very gracious about how much time I have spent in my sewing room for the last 2 weeks working on this piece. Long hours. Last night I didn't stop stitching until after midnight because I really wanted to push forward and finish it this weekend. So I'm very happy that I did. And I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to work on next. I'll just come in here tomorrow and see what's calling to me of my whips, and I'll see how, where I go from there. And but I am tickled to have this big piece. It's big in the fact that it's very complex. You know, it's not that big of a picture, but I'll give you the details one more time. This is on a beautiful fabric that was hand dyed by Stephanie. It's called Playful Sprite. And of course, it does have sparkly gold thread woven into the fabric. So I don't know if you can see the sparkle in it or not, but this fabric that is pink with a little bit of green in it. Ah, there you go. You can see that sparkle, I think. I think I'm seeing it. And I just thought it was perfect for this piece. And it's 28 count. So this is the size if you do it on 28 count. Now my Sleeping Beauty, in contrast, is on 28 count as well. But the picture on Sleeping Beauty is going to be probably as big as this fabric is on this one. It's a much bigger piece. Well, thanks for watching it with me. I am hopefully going to have an opportunity to stitch on another whip enough that I can report on it before the end of the month so that I can add it to this little snippet, and you'll get to see a couple of things at the end of the month. But this was my big surprise, and I'm hoping that you've enjoyed the surprise. Anyway, thank you for watching, and thank you for visiting with me. Those of you who come back, and especially those of you who make comments. You're so kind to do that, to take the time to do that. And if you're new, welcome. I'm so glad you found my channel. I hope you'll find things that you like, some of the projects that I may be working on, or some of the things that I may film every now and then, like my stitching spot or a group when we get together. I was going to film something very unique today, and it rained out the event. But our new town where we live has some wonderful community type events, and today was supposed to be Mutts on Main. Mutts on Main was a dog, not a show, but sort of a dog fair where people brought their dogs on their leashes and they walked around and looked at the different stalls that vendors had set up for homemade doggy treats and doggy kerchiefs and different, sweaters and coats and things for the dogs. But it was just a way for you to bring your pet and walk around and enjoy the day. And we are petless right now and we miss having a dog, and so we thought we'd go today and just look around and see what the different puppies were and animals were in the local community, and just enjoy people enjoying their pets. And it rained today, so the event was not very well attended, and wasn't really much to film. But if there's something like that going on, I will try to capture a little bit of it so you can enjoy learning some about my new location, my new home. And I'll always try to put it at the end, so if you're not interested, you can skip through it. But anyway, that's what we were up to today. My big finish has been my biggest accomplishment today, so I'm happy about that. Thanks for sharing it with me, and I will talk to you soon. Happy stitching. Bye. Hello, good morning, everyone. Dina back again to give you a whip update. Today is Thursday, March 29th, and I am excited that I'm able to come back and give you an update on this whip, because it's the second time recently that I've been able to work on it. And I guess you've noticed since you saw the first part of the video that I had focused on a finish, and I finished my Firefly Fairies, which was one of the 3 whips that I carried over from 2017 Year of Whips that I didn't get to complete. That one is now at the framers, and I am ecstatic that they anticipate having it finished in 7 to 10 days. So this is a new framer I'm trying out for the first time in my new community. I hope I've chosen well. Needlework is one of the things that he does, and he actually told me he has 3 or 4 ladies that keep him busy with needlework, and I'm doing my best to get him to give my name and contact information to them so I can meet some stitchers in the area. So let me tell you what whip I went back and worked on. After I got through with Firefly Fairies, I was motivated to tackle another one of those hangover whips that I carried over. So I went back to do a second rotation on Sleeping Beauty. This is the Mirabilia Sleeping Beauty that I won on a giveaway from Cowgirl Kate. And it came with the beautiful fabric that it's owned, which is a 28 count Joblin in the colorway of Stormy Skies. And I'll show you where I got to. It's a big piece, so I'll have to kind of lean back. But I think you can see that. That's how she looks. And I just continued working across that bottom row. I was working on 2 rows across. I had originally gotten to about where that purple and dark green fold of fabric is in the picture there. And I had gotten to the first one, the first big one, and had started moving across to that second one. So I picked up there where I left off, and my goal for this rotation was to try to finish all of that dark purple. I'm gonna fold this a second, pardon me. Try to point out what I'm talking about a little better. I wanted to finish all of this. I had finished across part of this and had come a little past this and into this. So I wanted to get this fold finished, and there was some of this all up and down here that was open. So I did get those 2 folds finished, and I got into the green, the light green. That was my goal. I wanted to touch light green, and I actually stitched a couple of those colors in there. and fill that in. And now I'm about to get to the section where it'll start this light green swoop here. This is where I am right here, right in here. So I'll tell you, on this picture, I have this part done of working about right here. So this is where I am, right across here. Bottom third of the picture is where I'm at. A lot of stitching. A lot of stitching. I make a working copy of what I'm doing and I mark it as I go. But I am happy to report that I had to go and make my next row for the bottom of the picture of my working copy and attach it to what I had been working on because I had gotten to a point where I didn't have the pattern. I had run out of pattern at that section because it's so large and unwieldy. I just did sections of it at a time. So now I have what's left of it all on my stand here where I can see it, and I can actually see light at the end of the tunnel. I did calculate up what it would take to finish this piece, and doing a 3-day rotation, if I did 3 days, it would take 33 rotations to finish it. So anyway, that's over a year. So I decided that I needed to do more than that each rotation. I need to step it up now that I don't have Firefly Fairies. I can put that rotation on this piece. So I think I'm going to do 2 rotations a month. Double the time I spend on it if I can. If it goes quicker, that's fine. I may only do 5 days, but probably every month I will work on this 3 days and take a break, and then later in the month work on it 3 days again, just depending on how I feel. It's interesting, coming from being a monogamous stitcher, when I first found floss tube, where I stitched on one project until it was done, I find it hard now to stitch longer than 3 days on something before I'm ready to take a little breather from it, to touch one of my other projects that are ongoing. And so generally 3 days is all I do. Okay, so you've seen my update on Sleeping Beauty, and you know my plans are to try to touch her at least twice a month or a double rotation, so that if all goes well, I can finish her this calendar year. And then that will leave me only 1 year of WIP that I've carried over that I haven't resolved how to finish. And that's okay because it is a WIP I started last year. This Sleeping Beauty by Mirabilia, I started May 12th, 2016. It is my oldest WIP. Firefly Fairies, I had started May 1st, 2016. These were both Mania starts in 2016. And if you'll recall, last year in 2017 for Mania, I stitched on them on their anniversary for Mania. So now I'm going to stitch on this one again on May 12th on its anniversary for Mania. And hopefully that'll be the last Mania I have to stitch on it for its anniversary. I hope to finish it this year. Now, speaking of Mania, I gave it some serious thought as to what I wanted to do this year for Mania, because last year, with the exception of my anniversary pieces, I stitched Christmas ornaments, and I did 6 ornaments, finished them all during Mania, and wound up having 6 new ornaments for Christmas. Great plan, worked well, and it raised my Mania participation. The first year I did 5 things and started 5 things, and then the second year I started 6 and worked on 2, so I had carried it up to 8 things. Well, this year I toyed with several options. I toyed with starting the rest of my Little House Needleworks hometown holiday pieces, which would be 7 more that I want to do. I toyed with starting all 7 and letting that be 7 of my Mania pieces, and then working on the other 9 WIPs for the rest of Mania, and maybe starting a gift as the 18th piece and actually touch 18 things in Mania. But remember, last year I was only at 8 things, so I'm gradually getting there. I'm not jumping right in. So I really gave it some thought, and I felt like this year, with the concentration trying to finish these whips that I carried over, that has kind of flowed over into the rest of my thinking. I've been trying to finish whips this year. I have 9 projects going, and I really would like to get that down. I know for many of you, you're laughing because you do so many more than that. But I like finishing things. I like getting them done. And so having 9 ongoing projects, most of which are, fairly intricate long-term projects for me, I would like to par that back. And I want to ultimately get it down to having half of my projects a bigger project and half smalls. I think that would be more manageable for me, and I would get, more finishes throughout the year. And I think I would enjoy that. So that means this year I want to concentrate on my whips. So I came up with a plan. It's 2018. A lot of people are doing 18 starts for Mania because it's 2018. I have 9 whips. So for the first 18 days of Mania, I decided I could work on each whip 2 days, and that would take me the first 18 days of May, and I would have touched everything at least 2 days. Then I could go back and work on another rotation of Sleeping Beauty and another rotation of any of my other whips that maybe I didn't get to stitch as much on, depending on life, and what else was happening on that day that it fell on, in Stitch Mania. So I think that is my plan. Right now, that's what I'm thinking I will do. And that would, it would increase the number of things I do to 9, which is 1 more than last year. But it would also allow me to do something all 18 days. And I always try to work through Mania up to the end of Mania. So I think that's going to be my plan. And I hope you like that okay. And that means that if I vlog it, by the end of Mania, I can put up my video and you can see everything I've worked on that month. All in one video. Oh, that might be too much. Anyway, I hope you guys are having a great month of March. It's almost over. We are fast approaching Easter. I'm looking so forward to it. Our choir at our church is working hard, and we have some beautiful music for our Easter celebration on Sunday, and I'm very much looking forward to that. Well, I hope you have a great rest of the month. I actually might have one more update for you before the end of the month. I'm going to start working on another piece today, and if I get enough progress on it, I'll video it for you. So happy stitching, everyone, and happy Easter. Bye. Hello, good afternoon. Welcome. My name is Dina, and this is the last update for the month of March. Today is Saturday, March 31st, and I just wanted to record one more time and tell you what I've been working on since Friday night as part of the Friday night off the grid party. I decided that I was going to go ahead and get started on some of my Christmas presents. And so I have to take a pause here and say a private message to my sister Stephanie. Stephanie, if you're watching this video and you get to this point, now's when you need to stop the video and I'll join you later in another one because I don't want to spoil a surprise for you. So good night, and I'll see you soon. Everyone else, my new start, as you could tell, is for my sister Stephanie. So let me tell you a little bit about this pattern. I saw this pattern last year before Christmas. It was back around November, I think, and Mary Lang had posted this as something she had stitched for one of her Christmas stitches, and I thought it was so whimsical and so cute. I wrote her a message on her post and asked her where to find the pattern if she could remember or if she knew the name of the pattern so I could track it down, because I wanted to stitch it for my sister Stephanie, who collects elves as one of the things that she loves. Mary was so kind. She's such a good example of how giving that our cross stitch community is. She wrote me back and said, I'll just loan you the pattern. She didn't want to get rid of the pattern, but she was willing to loan it to me and let me stitch it. So I promised I would take good care of it and that I would return it to her. And she sent it to me in November of 2017. Well, it is now March of 2018, and I am sorry to say I'm just now getting started on it. So Mary, I am sorry it took so long, but I appreciate your patience, and I will get this finished and get your pattern right back to you. But the name of this pattern is No Rest for Elves, and it's by Marilyn and Jackie's Collectibles. I'm going to bring it up here where you can see it. I think it is adorable. It's so whimsical, and it's just as precious as it can be. All those little presents precariously stacked up there. One of them's taking a fall off. You can tell, the whoop, there it goes. But it's just really, really cute. Now, I got the pattern out on Friday morning, and I decided I was going to get it started because I just had a few days left in the month. And I looked at the pattern, and you see there's a great deal of shading that goes from dark to light on almost every box. And this pattern did that with varying colors of DMC. So I had an idea. I had the DMC variegated colors in my collection. Here's one. Here's several more. You can see the variegation in them. These are just the DMC variegated colors. I have this whole set bombinated and in my collection, and I've never used them. So I thought, this will be perfect. I'll just use a similar color to the pattern as close as I can get. You know, I'll use blues where there are blues, pinks where there are pinks, red where there's red, purple where there's purple. And I'll just do variegated thread so I don't have to have quite so many numbers. So I will put in the description box below my conversion if you're interested in it, but just so it'll be there in case you need it. I kept the tree the same, and of course the hair and eyes the same, but I think I changed everything other than the tree and the boots and the hair on the little elf. And I decided I would try to have the colors variegate from dark to light in the same direction that the pattern did, because I liked the way that it was laid out. And I just wanted to use it as a way of using up my variegated colors. I'd never tried them, and I wanted to see how they went. So Friday night, I got started on this project for my Friday off the grid. Pull my needle through there so it's not poking at you. But this is how far I got. Now, I will tell you, I had to think a little bit, because in the pattern, the boxes were outlined by the darkest color that was in the spectrum. And in mine, it was variegated. So I had to do a little fussy cutting and make sure I kept darker colors around each box. And then I could start with that dark color and then use the rest of those threads that I had cut the dark end off of and start having it variegate up light and then get dark and light again. So that worked out really well. This blue up here, which is a different shade from this one, is less variegated. And that's okay, because it turns out it's smaller boxes. So that's all right. The star is a golden color, and I think they used Kreinik, a number 4 Kreinik for the star at the top of the tree. I'm going to use Petite Treasure Braid. I have some gold Petite Treasure Braid left over from Firefly Fairies, and so I'm just going to pull that out and use it to make the gold star and the gold trim on the Elves boots when I get down there. So this is stitching up fairly quickly. My plan is to stitch on it today for any time that I get to stitch for the rest of the day. And then I will start on Easter Sunday the 1st, probably on my Little House Needlework piece, my next one of those that I'm going to do for those two sals that are the series sals and the serial sal. And I will do that in the first part of April. And then I have planned to stitch at least 3 days in April on each of my other whips. Now that's what I have planned. We'll see what happens. I think that's going to be the way that I try to work it out. I do have a stitching gathering that I'm going to go to next Saturday, a week from today. And so I am looking forward to that. And what I'm thinking I'll do is take this piece with me, because that should be a piece that I could work on while I talk with other people. And so that I may even be finished with the boxes today, maybe all except the big one, and I could go ahead and outline it so I don't have to fussy cut and worry about the shading, and I can just stitch once I get there, which would be nice. But I think that is my plan. I'll take that with me that Saturday, and who knows, I may even get a finish out of it, which would be awesome. That would be one of my Christmas presents already finished in April, which would be nice. I have been toying with doing another gift, and this is for another friend of mine who collects Raggedy Ann. And I have a pattern that I was gifted because I went looking for it. And when I mentioned that I was looking for it, one of my wonderful floss tube friends had it and sent it to me. So I need to get it started, but it is a full coverage piece. I don't know that I'll get it finished by Christmas, but the person's birthday will be roll around again next March. So it could do for either one, just whenever I get it finished. So it looks like I need to make yet another start pretty soon. So I'd like to finish this one and then start that one. And that's going to take me back up to 10 whips. It just seems that I'm hovering there in order to get things stitched when I need to. But that's okay. I prefer 8, but I can handle up to 10, so that's what I'm going to do. Hope you're having a great weekend. Tomorrow's Easter. I hope you have a fabulous day. And I thank you for spending time with me again this month. Thank you for sharing my finish with me. It's been a long time coming, and I'm really thrilled that you've been the journey with me. And now maybe you can cheer me on to finish that Sleeping Beauty, because that's going to be sort of the companion piece. I'd like to hang them together. Even though they're completely different, how they're laid out, their orientation is completely different. One is side to side and the other one is tall. But I think I'm going to try framing it myself, because I watched a tutorial that Teresa put out, Kitten Stitcher, on how to frame yourself. And she had some really good information in there about pinning. And I did do some of my own framing this past year for some gifts that I did, and they turned out okay. And I think that with practice, I should be able to get even a little better. But I just feel like it is so costly when you take things to the frame shop, and you don't always get to put everything you want into it because it's just costs too much money. So if I do the work myself and just get a frame shop or Hobby Lobby or someone to cut the mat and purchase the frame there when it's on sale, I might be able to frame things a little fancier even, But anyway, I hope you enjoy getting acquainted with my new start. I can't wait to see how this little gift is going to come out. I haven't decided how I'm going to finish it. I don't know if it's going to be too big to do a flat fold. I'm thinking so. And I don't know if it would be a good stand-up by itself. I'd have to talk to Vonna about that. So I may wind up having to make either a wall hanging out of it, or I don't think she would use it as a tote bag. So I'll just have to come up with a way that I want to finish it, you know, a cute way to finish it. So I'll have to give that some thought. If you have some ideas, please share them below in the comments. In the meantime, happy stitching, everyone, and I hope you have a fabulous new month in April. Happy stitching. Bye-bye.